Fletcher and Connor Watson, welcome to the Mentor, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Two brothers.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had a younger brother.
Really?
No, I didn't realize. And he's pretty smart too.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit. Oh,
Not smart enough.
I like it. He's a sportsman.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a little crack?
No.
Yes, it is. Come on. Yeah,
Of
go
course
on. Now, I know your mum. I haven't never met your dad, but I know your mum. And great mum and pretty switched on. I mean, I met her with Connor a few times. And Connor's sort of, I have to disclose, I'm on the board of the Roosters, have been for a long time, and he's one of our key players, been playing with us for many years. And I'm a Connor fan. And he has come to me on a few occasions with little business ideas that he's had, even when he was at Newcastle. He had a bit of a business idea, and he's been sort of trying to sort himself out for his future, which is what all sports athletes should do that. But in his case, he's liked it because he's got his brother sitting aside. So we know what Connor does. Fletcher, can you give me an idea of what you have done in the past? What's your deal?
So, I left high school. I didn't even finish year 12, so I did term year 12 and gapped it. I didn't really enjoy it anymore. And I was at Knox kind of left, but I was at Knox too, the boarding school. And I wasn't playing rugby at the time. I was injured. I sort of done my shoulder and I kind of just fell out of love for everything. And sort of went back home, moved back to the coast and started working for mum and dad. So they have like a supply company. And they work all through government, sort of health, all that sort of stuff, and just did that. And I actually went to acting school for a few years. Did that, still did the acting stuff on the side when it sort of pops up, but it's been a bit harder the last few years as we started the company. It's gotten a lot busier, but I just started working for mum and dad and realized that I actually kind of enjoyed watching. Not just I enjoyed watching them have their own company and sort of run their own thing, and obviously they had the association that runs off the business, and there was that sort of, it was fun and it was good to see, and it was something that I kind of fell in love with. I didn't think I was going to be like a business owner or anything. When I was young, it wasn't really something that occurred to me at all. But yeah, and then I ended up really randomly, it was through another guy on the board of the association that...
Just talk about what the association is.
Yeah, it's a Cultural Choice Association. So it's a charity that we started back in 2017. 18, yes, 18. You got, yeah, you know better than me. Sorry, but we unfortunately lost our younger cousin in 2017 to suicide, and from that point on, we started the association to assist in the prevention of Indigenous youth suicide because the numbers are too high and it affected our family. We didn't want other families to go through it, so we started that.
And by the way, equally, your family, you are Indigenous boys, proud Indigenous boys. So that's as opposed to being white fellas trying to do that. You have Indigenous background, so that should be made clear in the very beginning, which is one of the reasons you've done this.
Yeah, exactly. My cousin is Indigenous. He was Indigenous as well. So that was a big thing for us. Yeah, just looking at the numbers and just suicide generally and mental health it's an epidemic in society. And then even more so in rural communities and then in Indigenous communities on top of that. So we started that to try and bring awareness to the issue and help in prevention in some way. And it's been going for nearly sort of getting close to 10 years now, which is it's been a good journey. It's been a tough journey. I think non-for-profits are really hard, just trying to keep them sustainable, as you know, compared to other businesses where you're sort of selling a product. So.
Well, I guess you are sort of selling a product, but it's a product people can't get their heads around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how did doing that end up in what you do now? What was the inspiration for Wildfire Content?
Well, me and Connor have always spoken about sort of starting, we're always obsessed with film when we're kids, whether it was sort of me and Connor doing drama or just getting the camera out at home.
Him? Was he doing it?
Yeah, he was doing drama. That's good. It was in there.
I actually did it in year 11 and 12 too.
Really? It's weird. Yeah. I tell you something. He's a bit weird for a footballer, don't you reckon? He's not your normal footy.
No.
Not having a crack at the footy boys, but he's sort of, sometimes he's got long hair and a mo, and other times he's it's short and
alternative.
He changes around it's and I used to think, he's just been a young bloke sort of just trying to appeal to the chicks, but it's not. He's sort of got a bit of artistic in him, a bit of creativity in him.
Yeah.
it's within himself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he always has been. And that's, I guess, how we sort of fell into it. We just wanted to do something that was in film and
together, though.
We've always spoken about sort of doing our own thing, and if it's making short films or trying to do music videos, whatever it was. And then randomly, we started a conversation with Ben Hams, who I used to work for at Great Barrier. There's like this group of production companies, and we sort of kind of had this idea of starting a production company. And he was like, "Well, have you ever worked in production?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Why don't you come work for me and see if you actually enjoy it before you start a company?" So he gave me a job as like a PA. I'd come on and like part-time.
1 day a week.
Yeah, 1 day a week, traveling down from the central. I was still living at home, so I was traveling down from Central Coast 1 day a week to Paddington and did that. And then it just eventually like sort of got 2 days, got 3 days, and then he offered me a full-time job. So I took that, and the whole point of it was to sort of learn, I guess, the business behind production companies, and then obviously eventually go out on our own and start our own thing.
When you say production companies, I mean, for the audience, what does that mean? A production of what?
So we make, it's a whole range of stuff, but it's mainly video and photography content, whether it's like documentary style stuff or like branded content or ads. We do like a lot of tourism stuff too. We're actually in the middle of a tourism campaign for Sydney tourism. So for Destination New South Wales. So there's like a bunch of different, I guess, aspects of the company that we do, which is great.
Because production sort of covers a lot of stuff. I mean, we do production here, but it's not what you guys do. So maybe you could explain your silo of production. So what's the start?
Yep.
Like client or tender, and what's the output?
Yep. So we usually get like a client will basically reach out to us about, we have this idea that we want to try to execute. Can you sort of look into it? And they'll sort of just run us through. It's like they give us a creative brief. You sort of look through it, see like what's possible, what's not, like what's not possible in the time frame, and then you kind of just plan it out for them. So it's just like basically you do that, and that's why I really enjoy it, because you see the product from like sort of the whole thing. So it's A to Z. It's like the whole thing. So you start with just an idea, and then you build it out, and then you shoot it, then you edit it, and then you sort of release it. So it's pretty exciting to see it all sort of come together.
Is it a beauty parade? In other words, does Wildfire have to line up against 10 others, and you got a pitch your idea?
Sometimes, yes.
So there's a pitch involved?
Yeah. So if it's a lot of client stuff, we pitch it. So government stuff, sorry. So with all the destination, like New South Wales stuff, that's all tenders.
Tender base.
Yeah. And then we submit our own creative. So we go like, this is what we want it to look like. This is how we want to shoot it. This is the team we're bringing on to, make that happen. And then you sort of have a few meetings with them, and they sort of, it's usually sort of between 2 to 5 companies that are sort of going for them. And then they make a decision out of that.
So a lot of people, and it's funny, you should say, because I was only talking to an Indigenous Aboriginal group last week and they were telling me about, this is New South Wales government, that in the case of New South Wales, a certain percentage of tenders need to be won by Aboriginals, and they were talking about Barwarana. And they were talking about that not enough people from Barwarana actually win these things. There's other Aboriginals from other areas where other groups, Aboriginal groups, tend to win these things. And they were talking about the pitch process and how difficult the pitch process is. Like, you can't just walk in and say, look, this is my idea. I mean, it's a proper process. You've got to be pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Pretty good at that. I mean, you got to do all the prep.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to the prep in a sec, but you got to actually present. And there's a process of presentation.
Yeah.
How do you two work out who's going to say what?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the technical stuff, like the day-to-day production, that's Fletcher's bread and butter. So he sort of talks about that mostly. And then like a lot of the clients that we've worked with or people that we've went and had meetings with through my network, I sort of, go in there, make the introduction.
So you'll work out, you'll distribute the products. In other words, you're finding places to go and pitch to.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
And he's doing the pitch. But do you go along to the pitch?
Yeah, sometimes. If it works out on my training days.
Yeah. If you're available, obviously. Yeah, but like, it's odd two brothers working together. I mean, I work with my brother and I know it's difficult. I mean, my brother and I have been together for 40 years. But how does it work and keep friendly and, keep it cool? And do you have arguments?
Yeah, we argue quite a bit. But it's just like, it's not personal.
No, but it'll be argue about,
of course. I think
like intellectually.
Yeah. I think it's because you both care about the thing. You both care about the product, and we want the company to be as good as possible that we can make it. And sometimes you don't. I mean, honestly, we do align on sort of, I'd say 99% of what we want the company to be, and before we even started the business, we sort of sat down and we wrote everything out. We have like all these policies and stuff in place.
What about values
of the company? Yeah, I think we did do some values. I think, yeah. Coming from, I guess, working with mum and dad and working in the association and then transitioning from like a not-for-profit into a profit business, you kind of carry that, I guess, the integrity along with you, where it's like, it is a business, but at the end of the day, I'm only employed by you because I'm going to make your product look as good as possible. Like, we're not here to sort of, take whatever profit it is and sort of ruin your story or your brand integrity. Because at the end of the day, all the brands feel as personal about their company as we do about ours. So it's at the end of the day, it's just trying to take that integrity and making sure that whatever you do is at the utmost respect for your client, but also for your own name and for Wildfire. And because you're only as good as your last job, right?
Yeah, totally. So do you find if you had occasion where you had to say something, look, we're not doing this job?
Yeah, when you get to a stage where you're quite busy and you're sort of doing a few projects and then one will come by and maybe you could make a good amount of profit on it, but it's like it's going to be more of a headache than it will be for because you look at it, sometimes the work is great that you're going to get out of it, and sometimes we've made very little money on anything, but we know the product's going to be really good. It's going to come out of it. So I know
that's good to have in your portfolio.
Yeah, and I know that I'd rather spend X amount of money on this project because I know in the long run I'm going to get something out of it as a company.
So that's interesting. So as a business model, you do take a portfolio approach. In other words, it is a bit like investment managers take this too, by the way. They don't mind losing on some things in order to make on other things. Like a portfolio approach is, it's in my portfolio.
Yeah.
It's in my book.
Yeah.
Here's my brand book.
Yeah.
This is what we've done.
Yeah.
Even if you just do break even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that more in the beginning of your business you do that, and less so, do you think, towards the end of the business?
I think
we definitely at the start, if this is going to help us build our portfolio, then let's do it.
Like brand alignment. Align someone else's brand. Like Coca-Cola comes to you and says, do this campaign for me with Global. I'm not going to even make you money, but I don't mind having, my brand associated with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then sort of as it's evolved, like we've been fortunate enough that having that portfolio has helped us get bigger jobs like, Destination, for example. But I think as we sort of progress through, like we have these conversations all the time around, even now, if some of these clients come to us and there wasn't a good amount of profit in it, we'd still do it just to continue to build that brand reputation.
And how do you leverage someone like Connor with his social media connections and his presence? How do you, without sounding horrible, how do you leverage brother?
No, of course. That was like when we started the company, it was like, he's got the connections that I can't get.
You didn't get your deep voice though. What happened there?
I don't know.
Throw too much.
I always had a deep voice. Even when I was like,
he did.
A little kid, and run around.
Deep voice and
really old
man hair. I think he was
I'm an old man.
But how do you leverage it? And what do you say? Like, hey mate, come on, they'd love to see you standing there, at the meeting, or whatever. How do you do it without being silly?
It's you just take him along, and it's good for him too, because I guess football doesn't last forever, and it
also niches you. It niches you.
Yeah.
You become.
100%.
You start to say, well, who's Connor Watson? He's a state of origin player, plays for Roosters. When that stops, then who am I?
Yeah,
because that doesn't last forever. It does stop.
Yeah, I think for a long time, the last couple of years, I've been pretty great, good with injury.
But you had a bad run there before that.
And when I had that bad run, I had the Achilles, I had my patella tendon. That was sort of when I started to actually think about, because after the Achilles, at that point in time, some people were saying this is like a career-ending injury. The science has got a lot better, so guys are coming back in half the time they were now for an Achilles. So I was sort of worried at that point and thinking, what happens now if my career's over? So I did start to plan or search for passions outside of it. And, working in the charity was a big one, able to lean into that and actually give back through that, but then also gain business skill through, being on the board. I'm now president of the board as well. So that sort of changed my perspective on things a little bit. And then just the evolution of starting this with Fletcher. We had the podcast when I was in Newcastle and seeing the business side of that and, doing deals with sponsors and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, I know that this is an area that I want to get into more when I'm finished footy. So I'm just lucky that I've got my brother who's leading it, taking, doing all the hard yards for us at the moment. Then I add my piece when I can, and then when I finish, it's something that I want to dive into more, as well as some other things. So.
In a partnership of two, where one is working on full time, the other one's sort of in and out when he can. How do you work out what's fair in terms of who takes what? Like in terms of wages, you got to pay some wage. I mean, do you say, Fletcher, you got to take the bigger wage?
Yeah, well, I don't.
You don't take anything out of it.
No.
Yeah. So
you're even split too.
Yeah. And
after the even split is on profit after all costs.
Yeah. And we've also got another business partner as well. But the between the three of us, we've all spoken about, for this stage of business, all profits that we make, we don't want a dividend. Like we don't need it. So let's just put it in and continue.
Yeah, reinvest it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to get into something a little bit more difficult. Like, so you got the two of you now. Do you have a shareholders agreement? I mean, do you have an agreement between the two of you? A written agreement, like a shareholders agreement, like something.
Yeah.
You've gone down that track.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well done.
Yeah.
Because in business with my brother, like I often say, I cut, my brother sews. So I know what I'm good at.
Yep.
I know what he's good at, and vice versa. And I can never do what he does. I just can't do what he does. He had a skill that like a personality skill that I definitely never had.
Yeah.
And then it's turned out now he does all the sewing. So he sort of follows me around sewing up behind me, and if you're making a suit, someone's got to cut it into a really good shape and have a bit of an idea what it looks like. I wanted this suit to look like this, but it's no good unless someone can execute and turn it into it. So where would you two fit?
Like, we've both been pretty clear of where we want to go. For me, like in all the previous projects I've worked in, I felt like I've sort of been a bit probably more like you, with the vision, and I've been lucky to have people that have been able to execute it, like Mum and the charity, and Zoe, who's on board with us now, Fletcher and this. I think that's a big part of me doing things outside of footy, is that I actually have people who can help me, execute them or execute them together, because if I don't, I just know I'd half-ass things, because I need to keep the main thing still, which is so important. So that's why it's so great being in business with my brother, because he understands that.
Well, will probably better to let you get away with it. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but because he's patient enough to know that you're fair income enough that when your time comes, that you'll put in.
Yeah.
Because like if you come to another person, if he wasn't your brother, the other dude's going to say, mate, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
You're earning $1.5 million a year.
I think you got the wrong bloke.
Didn't he tell you?
I think you got the wrong bloke.
You're earning $1.5 million a year, and I'm doing all the work, and you're a third owner of the business. Like, because that's a tough thing in a business model or shareholders arrangement. And that's in my case, I'm blessed too with my brother. But then on the flip side of it, you're dealing with your brother. So, and you're dealing with your older brother.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says. The older brother's still that sort of in that difference between the two, that sort of range that an older brother has, lasts for a long time. Yeah. Do you still feel that a little bit like the younger brother?
Yeah. I mean, he tries to big brother me sometimes.
Does it, mate?
Line, mate.
Yeah, someone needs to keep me in line.
But that's an interesting dynamic for people listening to this, like who want to or don't want to experience the drama as to how you deal with that sort of stuff. Is that a mindset for you? Is that something you just go, I can rise above these things?
I mean, you try to, but sometimes you sort of do get back into your sibling bickering. But honestly, I think growing up, and Mum and Dad were in business when our whole childhood, basically, and then and then Pa is the same thing. They were in business their whole, like Mum and Dad's whole childhood. So we've always been around, I guess, family that have had business together. So it wasn't something that when we started, a lot of people did say the same thing, like, "Are you sure you should be going in business with your brother?" And it wasn't something I second guessed. It was like, whatever. Like, I think we're both mature enough and both strong enough in our own character to not sort of let, I guess, business devolve, ruin our relationship as brothers. And if it does get to that point, we're very open. We'll just sit there and have a chat to each other and sort of say, I'm not liking the way this is going, or you're not liking the way this is going. And I think it's, as long as communication's open between both of us, I think we're completely fine.
How important is your parents in that regard, in all these decisions you're making, and all these sort of, let's call it, mature positions you're taking?
Huge. I mean, mum in particular, like dad's sort of a bit more low key, goes about his business, but mum is like I ring her
Almost
every second day for a voice on different things, even, whether it's footy or business, how we sort of deal with these different situations. Like, she's been awesome for us. And I think just growing up, like having both of them around and both of them in this business just sort of opened both of our eyes up into, that we can go and do it ourselves. So that's why it's been so enjoyable. But I've sat with you and her before, and she's
pretty impressive. Like a mother who's got her eye on the ball. Let's just talk about some of your clients. You've got some pretty interesting clients.
Yeah.
Well done. Like, do you mind naming a couple of the clients?
We've worked sort of with Louis Vuitton a bit in the past, sort of Chanel, Dior. They're like the sort of luxury-ish clients. And then Vogue, done a bit of stuff with Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. So we sort of I came from I was working for a fashion production company. So when we sort of started, we could transfer a lot of those clients across, which was great.
Because you already knew them.
Yeah. Whereas now we're sort of doing a lot more, I guess, you're running more advertising stuff, I reckon. So, like I said, working with Destination New South Wales, did just a really big job with Hyundai, so the international coming out of Korea, which was like another random one that just came through a relationship that we'd done like a favor for last year for a job. But
it's one of those jobs where you didn't make any money.
It was a lost lead. It was a really cool campaign. It was
plastic one.
Yeah, so it's from microplastics and like men's balls and
how they affect your endocrine system.
Yeah, and it was released during the Geneva Convention, and it was all up on a big billboard overseas. And they come to us, and it was like, I think we got the job on a Wednesday. We shot it on Sunday, and it was out on Monday. So that's a crazy turnaround for like wanting to shoot like that. But we had to get a stylist to come in to like get plastic bottles and like to sew them in your undies. So we did like a fake Calvin Klein.
Rip off with plastic bottles.
Yeah.
Did you have the Calvin Klein?
No. So it was just a plain undies.
You whited it out.
Yeah. But in post, it was like quotes on it. So it was like 4 out of 5.
Right.
4 out of 5 penises have microplastics.
We'll show you after this. It's funny.
But that was a job, and we saw it, and it was a great creative. So I was like, well, of course we're going to try to do this.
But it was great, but it got cut through.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Because it was a bit risky.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Because I knew about this, and I wanted to talk to you about how important is risk or having a bit of risk in the campaign for you guys.
For us, I think I reckon it depends on the client or like I guess where it's being released to. But I feel like it's massive. Like nothing really, especially in advertising, it's so like sharp. You got 5 seconds or whatever it is, and there's ads constantly turning out. Like every day you sort of get on, everything. And there's like YouTube's got ads, Spotify's got ads, like every single ad. Like
Netflix got ads now.
Yeah. They've all got them now, right? So it's like, and it's really funny because everyone thought ads were going out. Everyone was like, everyone's on streaming platforms. There's no ads anymore, but they've just sort of bringing all the ads back. So like they're just pumping full of them.
Well, soon they'll be on AI, whichever platform you're using on AI, that you're going to get them at some stage.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it'll happen for sure. And you made a really interesting point. In terms of cut through, advertising hasn't gone as just got shorter.
Yeah.
And there's lots more of them on just about every platform we look at, every platform we look at nearly. And therefore, what do you need to do for campaigns? What do you feel you need to do if the processes, the content needs to be shorter and there's more competition in terms of eyeballs?
Yeah.
What do you need to do? What do you guys look at?
I think authenticity's massive, and I think everyone is searching for authenticity, and whatever, if it's the clothes you buy, the shoes you wear, your makeup, whatever it is. I feel like because there's so much junk out there.
Yeah, be fair income.
Yeah. And it's just be fair income about what you're trying to tell or the story you're trying to tell, or, if your clothes are Australian made, or if your makeup is sort of animal free, like cruelty free, like all that stuff. Everyone's just looking for authenticity and whatever, I guess, story you're trying to tell. So I think, whatever you're doing, I think if you lead with authenticity, I think you sort of get through.
Maybe you could first open up authenticity, what you guys mean by authenticity. And then secondly, how do you play in the attention-getting game?
Yeah, back in the last year and did as a really cool job with the traditional owners. So basically, there's a lot of NGOs up there that are repurchasing the Daintree because it got split up, I think, in it could have been the 80s or the 70s, I think. And it got taken from, I think it was National Park, and then it got made private, and they started selling off parts of Daintree. And then basically these NGOs are purchasing back the Daintree to reforest it because it's all been cut down and destroyed and stuff like that. So, but Alamay is there. I think when you buy one of their pieces of clothing, they put a percentage of the funds back into reforesting the Daintree. So we got to go up there and sort of document the first planting of like this whole area. And that's a job that was amazing. It was sort of going up there and shooting with the traditional owners and interviewing, because they have like all the local community that's coming and working on the farms and they're planting. So it's like creating that sustainable employment in like that in those sort of areas, which is great. So that was like
using locals.
Yeah. Using the local.
So the story for that then is about acknowledging the traditional owners, acknowledging the Daintree the forest itself.
Yeah.
And sort of it's a good story. Like, but the cut through, what would you call that? Would that be actually you physically being there and like, instead of taking stock images, actually filming there?
Yeah. And it's making like I guess a beautiful piece of art too. So it's not just this video. It's not just like a promotional piece of material for them, but it's like going up there and shooting a beautiful piece of art. So that's going to last forever, hopefully. But and it's one of those jobs that they sent us up. We were up there for a few days. We sort of sat with all the local elders. We had to interview them. We sort of hung out in the farm with them, or planting with them. So you sort of get in there, you're getting your hands dirty. You're sort of spending hours out in the field with them. But it's a great job.
I think with what you're saying before, Mark, about like the two channels of, being taking risk and also being authentic, you've probably seen brands that push it too far.
Yeah.
Then others have found the balance of it. But I think it's important for brands to do both.
Because if you don't cut through, no one's going to even look at it.
And it doesn't have to, my opinion, and I'm not sure if Fletcher's is the same, but it doesn't have to be in the same piece of content also. It can be, you can at the same time be leaning into risk stuff and then also grabbing attention that way. But then the other stuff that you as a brand is, other campaigns that you're running is you being authentic. You catch people with the risk and you make them stay with how authentic you are as a brand. And I think it's important for, like, we sort of working through a proposal for a client at the moment, and they're probably too far one way with risk stuff, the TikTok trends, all this sort of stuff, grabbing people's attention. But we feel as a brand that we can help them actually make people stay through more authentic stuff, actually creating a community sense in their content.
So when you talk to that particular client or potential client, do you pitch into them how you think you can improve their brand? Do you actually say that? We think you're leaning a little bit too heavily on the, the attention grabbing side.
Yep.
And probably could do tone one down and tone one up.
Yeah.
Like volume stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn the volume up, turn the volume down.
Yeah. I've had that conversation with the owner there already. So, but it's about, because there's also as well, like for a business, everyone wants clicks and engagement, but is it actually driving?
Does it end up at the bottom of the funnel?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do they transact?
Yeah, exactly. So that's at the end of the day, you might actually, like, the risk stuff is what gets the engagement and catches people's eyes, but then the authentic stuff might not get the same, because an authentic piece like what we just talked about before might be a 3 to 5 minute video, and the watch through rate won't be the same as a 30-second video or a 15-second clip. But at the end of the day, this authentic stuff, does it drive revenue more? Like, it's different for different brands. But I think for me as a consumer, I know that this stuff catches my attention. This stuff keeps me and makes me want to purchase.
And when you do that, where do you send them to get the longer form?
Well, I think Instagram.
You show them a link or something, do you?
Instagram and like YouTube's a big one.
Yep.
That's a big one. But I think the way that we see it and when we talk about it is, TikTok is where the more risk. That's
a bit more forgiving too.
Yeah. And you still want some of that stuff in your Instagram to catch people's attention, but Instagram is more like it's more curated, I think, than what a TikTok is. You want people to go onto your Instagram and see, like what your brand actually is, not just these short little videos. Like you want to get a sense of what your brand is trying to tell through their Instagram, the way you look at it in the different videos.
On that Daintree one, in terms of the longer form stuff, do you guys get your clients to put that up on YouTube?
Goes on our Vimeo. So yeah, but it's still, I think the long form is still on Instagram, but we always link everything. So if you go on like to Wildfire's Vimeo, it's got the long form of sort of everything. So like you said, Instagram, you know, when you post like a 3-minute video, you don't get a whole lot of, you sort of get probably the first 30 seconds. Everyone's kind of watching. So we always do cut downs of everything.
There's cut downs of everything.
Yeah. So it's always like, you know, there's a 30-second cut down of this.
But I know if I want to watch the whole thing, I can go for the full.
Yeah. There's always a link like on a story or on a post or whatever. It says like link to the full video here.
So you guys have had to become not only good at the production side of things, but you have to be pretty good at the social media stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit of a learning curve.
I mean, how do you learn about that sort of stuff? Or is it just trial and error?
Yeah, it's trial and error. And I'd sort of, especially in the Wildfire page, I just kind of look at a lot of different production companies and marketing companies and just companies that I liked, their feel or their vibe. A lot of like overseas guys that I sort of look at and sort of see how they're curating their content or how they're posting sort of the work they're working on. And same thing, like I use Pinterest a lot, like sort of just go through Pinterest and looking at cool photos or videos or and Vimeo. Vimeo is actually really good for production companies, I think. Even marketing companies that sort of look at whoever's posting stuff and you get like a really wide variety of different work. But yeah, I think it's just like you have to sort of turn yourself into a bit of a consumer of the sort of.
You sit back and be the consumer.
Yeah, for a bit and to sort of to figure that out, because I think, you know, everyone has a taste, but it's kind of hard to find what that taste is. So, you know, you kind of, sometimes it's all over the joint. And I know when we first started Wildfire, like you are trying to grab whatever job would come your way because you need to make profit.
Yeah, well, you've got to get turnover at least.
Exactly. So, but, you know, we've kind of found ourselves randomly into this branded content, branded documentary space without even trying to fall in there.
That's important what you just said, the branded documentary style.
Yeah.
You're not making documentaries and stuff, but you've got a branded documentary style.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a little bit new to me. So can you explain what you mean by branded documentary relative to a client?
Yeah. I could say like the Hyundai one we just did, it was like a 3-minute video. It was based on, so basically Hyundai worldwide, they've been helping to reforest kelp forests in the ocean. Because obviously, and they did this whole campaign, it's called Forests Without Names. So the whole point of the campaign was to name these forests that are all over the globe, because if you can't see them and you don't know what it's called, you don't care about it. So we did this documentary that's like all underwater. It's like above water stuff. It's bringing these kelp forest scientists in that are sort of going there. They're farming it. They're restoring it. And it's making a documentary, although it's presented by Hyundai, but it's a documentary sort of apart from what the company is known for.
There's no cars in it.
It's not about anything to do with that, but it's about the work they're doing, sort of, you know, whether it's in community. The Alame's one, same sort of thing, was a smaller documentary. I think it was like a minute long, that video. The same sort of style that you're telling a story. It's like, it is technically about the company, but not necessarily about the run-of-the-mill, the day-to-day product that they're usually selling.
So it's real branding.
Yeah.
Full branding.
Yeah.
Values branding.
Yeah. And I think a lot of like clothing companies now, you see it all the time, they're sort of, you would like randomly watch like a video on Instagram or YouTube and it's like they're selling a product, but you wouldn't know. Like we did a job for Chanel. It was like a short form video that was like a love story about like obviously the jewelry, but like you could hardly tell, like it was just rings. There was like montages of rings, or like they're in a shower and they had a necklace. It was like really subtle brand dropping, but it's not like shoving it in someone's face being like, buy this, buy this, buy this. I think a lot of brands are doing that now.
In TV, we used to call it in-program advertising. So like it's the most powerful form of advertising because you're not advertising.
Yeah.
You're not saying buy this and, you know, it's like it's Mark looking at a, you know, iPad, Apple iPad. But it's just in program, and all of a sudden, so what, you know? And if the show's influencing you, so what you're saying is your production, the business where you do production for your client. Mm-hmm. The reason the client's doing the production is to sort of in program advertise what they're doing. Because I'm watching what the kelp company's doing. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm seeing the name Hyundai, and it's completely associated with a motor vehicle. Yeah. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, they're not a bad organisation. Yeah. They're doing good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that a new trend?
Yeah, I think it's becoming massive. In that last sort of 12 months, it's been really picking up. And I think it's becoming, and a lot with fashion too. A lot of, you see a lot of like companies, the same thing with fashion and in sport. I think sport is becoming a big thing.
Well, we did it with Adidas.
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah, 100%.
We produced that Adidas.
Yeah.
The pub.
The pub, and had some,
You were in that, weren't you?
Yeah.
Footy legends. I was in there too.
I saw you in it.
Yeah, for about a second. I was there for a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it wasn't about the game. It wasn't about anything. It wasn't about Adidas. But it was sort of about Adidas. It was about our history.
Yeah.
And how long we've been around, and all the legends have gone through the club. Blah blah blah. And when you were telling me about it, and I thought about our Adidas ad, and I've never really thought about it in that context or in that frame. I mean, the way you just framed it is really good. Like, so that's a new trend, though, is it?
Yeah, I think it's almost like a repercussion of the other trend.
You're bouncing it
in your face.
Yeah,
it's been a fallout, I think, from that, where brands have just been like
on the back of the bus. You're sick of seeing it.
Things being sold to them, pushed down their throat. Like, is there another way we can do this? Is there a more authentic way we can do this?
Yeah,
it's funny, you should say, because there's a well-known back of the bus campaign about a female fashion brand. Like, it's a fast fashion, right? They just have the name at the bottom. They don't say where you get it. They don't say any phone number. There's no website.
No,
nothing. And I don't even know. It took me a while to jerry what it was about.
Yeah.
And and then I found it apparently a very famous a female fashion brand.
There was a great thing that another company that was
very effective though.
Yeah.
Did you see
what the other company did? There's another company that's like very similar to them. They bought the same
the bus
things on the buses, but it put an image up, and they just said basically what was it? It was
I can't remember the exact copy, but it was like, Sydney, we thought we'd give you a break.
Okay.
Because you know how you'd always see it.
Well, but it's very clever. Both of them very clever.
Yeah,
it's funny how many years ago when I set up my business Wizard in 1998, John Simons owned everything. Aussie Home Loans owned everything. And Aussie Home Loans brand was, if you want to beat the banks, go to Aussie. So, and he used to just pound the ads out so hard. And our very first advertising campaign was a full page ad in the very back page of the Sunday Telegraph, which is expensive because I had to take the sport out. And I only had enough money to do one ad.
Yeah.
And I wrote on there, if you want to beat the banks, go to Aussie. If you want to beat Aussie, go to Wizard.
That's great.
And guess what? They got their phone number wrong.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I rang up and blew up, and they gave me 2 weeks more. Yeah. Another 2 weeks. And so for the amount of money I spent for one ad, I got 3 weeks worth. Yeah. And that's sort of how we launched our brand. But that sort of stuff works.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't sophisticated. My God, we definitely weren't sophisticated. This is like 30 years ago. But we were definitely unsophisticated, and no production processes like you guys to do. But today, given the platforms, it's actually opened the pathway for good quality production, like film quality production.
Yeah.
And you'd be crazy not to do it.
Yeah.
And you can put up anywhere now because these are all TV channels.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're all movie channels. Yeah. YouTube, as a TV channel, Vimeo, they're all channels, including Instagram. So, that's a great place to be. I mean, do you feel really lucky that you can apply your skills into those environments?
I mean, I was sort of talking to Mum over the weekend about, I was just a bit stressed about work and sort of stuff going on, and I'm like, well, I just need to sort of sit back and smell the roses a bit
and have a whinge.
Yeah, well, I'm doing my dream job. It's like I'm loving doing it. So it's just like sometimes, you get caught up in the day-to-day of it, that sometimes you sort of forget that, you are doing your dream job, and you're sort of, like you said, you're making, eventually, hopefully Wildfire, we can become a brand that's doing we just had the off-season stuff like that. So we're doing our own shows and things like that.
Can we talk about the off-season? Yeah. That's your new podcast. So is it a podcast?
No, it's more of a mini documentary style show.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
So
YouTube.
talk about the off-season. Tell me about that.
It was actually Connor come up with the idea, sort of back end of, it was a rush, the back end of last year. We've always been obsessed with 30 for 30s, the ESPN sort of sport documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought our whole childhood, we're obsessed with sort of NFL and basketball and things like that. And they just nail these beautifully sport documentaries. And then I guess recently we kind of both have really got into Anthony Bourdain and Dirt. There's this other show called Dirt.
Yeah, I don't know, but I definitely know Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, and they do these really great travel documentaries, but it's also based around the people that they're meeting and they're eating with and they're cooking with and things like that. And kind of come up with the idea that wouldn't it be interesting to do the same thing, but for athletes, but seeing who they are away from the sport. I think so much as a fan that you sort of see them on TV or on a big screen, you always like who is the person when they're not in front of the camera. And I mean, they are in front of a camera with us, but who are they away from the big screen, I guess? And
audience wants to know that. Audience loves that.
Yeah. And we're fortunate enough to sort of shoot it at the back end of last year.
You're doing very well so far because we looked at the stats. You're killing it. You've only done 6-7 episodes. Four eps. Yeah. And you've already got big numbers. Yeah,
it's a surprise because we were trying to figure out if we wanted sponsorship for the first season to sort of, we're trying to sell the idea and then, we can make it. But we come to the decision that, and it was the same thing like Lost Lead. So we funded ourselves. So we spent our own money on it, the production, like a company's money on it, because we want to see what the outcome of it could be if we get the 4 episodes and they do have a big enough, they've more like enough views, enough comments, whatever it is shared.
So you sort of ran a pilot for.
Yeah, basically. And then we can sell that on.
The idea or yourselves doing it? You sell on the sponsors or you?
Yeah, to sponsors. Okay, sponsors.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate that sort of Connor got 4 of his good mates to come on and do it with us, and they gave us their time in the off season to sort of hang out with us, and it was great.
How long are they?
It was great.
They're 15 to 20.
Yeah. And how long does it take you to film? How much film we got?
We're a day. It's a day.
A day's film?
Yeah, just a day.
And you had it down to 20.
Yeah. And then that's the hardest part.
It's a day in the life of.
Basically, yeah. And the post is definitely the hardest part of it. So it's just cutting down, you sort of film for 8 hours, and it's like, how do you cut that down?
Do you know when I used to do The Apprentice, we used to film for 55 hours and we used to do for 42 minutes of telly.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
55 hours of television got cut down to 42 minutes of telly.
Yeah.
But I think that's sort of, it's probably a little bit inefficient, but like, that's pretty much normal. You're cutting your one day down to 20 minutes. So
yeah. We could have went longer, but we made a decision because we didn't want to.
I think 20 is about right.
Yeah,
mate?
We didn't want to.
It's a good length, I think.
Yeah.
So where to from here, boys? What's going? Anything interesting coming up?
We got a few sort of just jobs in the works that we're doing, and I think the off season is probably the main thing that we're sort of working at the moment. We're just figuring out the sort of 6 athletes or 8 athletes that we want to do for next season.
Not just football. But.
No, so and that's another thing that we don't want to just I shouldn't say just athletes, because we don't want to just do athletes. We want to just do sort of anyone interesting that's at top of their field. What if it's an actor, if it's a musician, like a chef, it doesn't really matter. Mark Boris, maybe.
I don't have an off season. I wish I did.
Just one day.
Yeah, but some of the great chefs would be good. Yeah. What do you do to calm down? To chill. Chef Bennett up in Byron Bay. The guy's running businesses. He's got real estate. He's got partners. He's launching new businesses left, right, and centre. I'd love to know what someone like him does, or the Matildas. I'd love to know what they do in their off season.
Yeah,
because they play here, then they go off and play overseas. So do they have an off season, and what is it? What's it look like? Off button.
Yeah.
Well, boys, really good to meet you, Fletcher. Good to see you, Connor.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks,
good luck on the weekend. Good luck to us. And who do you support, by the way, in rugby league?
I actually grew up a Storm fan, but I'm kind of forced to go through
bandwagon, mate.
No, I was a massive Cam Smith, Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk fan.
Yeah.
I used to love King, actually.
Yeah.
King, yeah.
And then, by the way, speaking of Storm, shout out to Bellamy, Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, mate.
Yeah,
Thanks, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, mate.